Victor Von Doom was born in a Romani camp outside Hausenstadt, Latveria. His mother, Cynthia, was killed in a bargain with Mephisto that went wrong. Despite his father's attempts to care for her, a noblewoman died and Werner Von Doom fled with a young Victor on a cold winter's night. Victor survived the cold, but unfortunately his father did not. Doom sought to increase his knowledge of both science and magic in order to rescue his mother, whose death he blamed on Mephisto. In his youth, Victor fell in love with a woman named Valeria, but she resisted his advances. The State University in Heegman, New York offered Victor a scholarship. While attending classes there, he met Reed Richards and Ben Grimm for the first time. They developed a dislike for each other, leading to Reed Richards committing the first prank he had ever pulled, changing Victor's last name on a trophy to Doof. Richards and Doom were intellectual peers. The two debated esoteric theories day and night that amazed faculty members, who compared their brilliance to that of Albert Einstein and Leonardo da Vinci. While Richards designed his starship, Doom became obsessed with developing a machine that could project the astral form of a being into other dimensions, seeing it as a way to free his mother's soul from Mephisto's clutches. Reed pointed out a flaw in Doom's calculations, but Doom arrogantly ignored his warnings, feeling Reed was trying to upstage him, likely due to their dislike for each other. The machine exploded, scarring Doom's face. He was soon expelled for conducting unethical experiments. From then on, he blamed Reed Richards for the destruction of his face as well as his expulsion. Disgraced and bitter, Doom traveled the world. Eventually, he came upon a small Tibetan village of monks who assisted him in creating a suit of armor. He returned to his homeland of Latveria to overthrow the leader and declare himself king. He then began to use his country's resources in order to further his plans of world domination. These schemes led Doom into conflict with the Fantastic Four on many occasions, as well as many other superheroes. Doom first confronted the Fantastic Four by holding Sue Storm hostage. Doom forced the other members of the team to travel back in time using his time platform to retrieve the mystical stones of Merlin. Later, he duped Namor into teaming up with him to destroy the team. During the team-up, he was shrunk to subatomic size and ended up in the world of Subatomica, where he quickly took control using his scientific knowledge and began plaguing the Fantastic Four with shrink rays. He was again defeated by the Fantastic Four with the aid of Ant-Man. His next attempt at defeating the Fantastic Four involved using the Terrible Trio, a group of thugs who had been given powers by Doom. This venture ended with him being transported into outer space by a solar wave. He was later found floating in space by Ramatut, who revealed to Doom that he was one of his ancestors. Believing that they might in fact be the same person, they decided that Ramatut would return to the future after sending Doom back to Earth. Back on Earth, Doom again clashed with the Fantastic Four. This time, they defeated him by hypnotizing him into believing he had destroyed the group. The hypnotic spell was eventually broken by a Latverian stage magician who had come to Doom's castle to entertain him. Doom, realizing he had been tricked, was furious and traveled to America to take his revenge on the Fantastic Four, who incidentally had lost their powers. Despite the Four having no powers, Doom was again defeated, this time with the aid of Daredevil. His next attack came when he manipulated an army of the world's supervillains to attack the wedding of Reed Richards and Sue Storm. When Doom battled and defeated the Silver Surfer, he stole the Surfer's powers and surfboard, becoming one of the most powerful beings on Earth. With these newfound powers, he was able to finally defeat the Fantastic Four. He then began running amok, causing havoc all over the world. After another confrontation with the Fantastic Four, Doom was tricked into flying into the Barrier Galactus set up around the Earth, and the Surfer's powers and surfboard returned to their rightful owner. Dr. Doom and Iron Man traveled to Camelot, where Stark thwarted Dr. Doom's attempt to solicit the aid of Morgan Le Fay, and Dr. Doom swore deadly vengeance for that interference, which had to be indefinitely delayed in the interest of returning to the present day. After reclaiming the Latverian throne from a mad Prince Zorba with the help of the Fantastic Four, Doom took a young Latverian boy named Christophe Renard, who was orphaned by Zorba's forces, under his wing and made him his heir. Another coup came on Battleworld during the first of the so-called Secret Wars. an event during which the powerful and mysterious Beyonder kidnapped several heroes and villains from the Earth to have them fight with the promise of giving the winners their heart's desire. Doom became the leader of the villains, and after their defeat, escaped his holding cell and constructed a device out of the body of Klaw to drain the power of Galactus. Using his stolen power, he was able to attack his true target, the Beyonder. Doom lost the battle, but as the Beyonder came closer to dissect and steady Doom, he managed to activate a device in his chest plate which hovered barely within his reach. Doom drained the Beyonder and became even more powerful. Too powerful, in fact, Doom was unable to rest, lest he destroy the universe with a dream. The Beyonder had, however, survived. He took possession of Klaw's body and used Klaw's guile to trick Doom into losing control of his stolen power, reclaiming it and defeating him. The Beyonder then vanished, with Doom and Klaw. As part of a plan to conquer the world, Doom kidnapped Zebediah Killgrave, the mind-controlling supervillain known as Purple Man, and imprisoned him within a gigantic psychoprism which not only bestowed Purple Man's powers on Doom, but also augmented them to a global scale. Using this device, Doom manipulated the United Nations and every government to legally name him Emperor of the Earth. Under Doom's command, the planet saw prosperity, equality, and the end of war and hunger, but at the cost of every citizen's free will. Additionally, Doom began to feel that his victory was almost meaningless due to any lack of challenge to achieve or maintain his goal. One challenger to Doom's rule surfaced in the form of the Avenger Wonder Man, whose unusual physiology rendered him unaffected by Doom's mind control. After freeing several of his fellow teammates from Doom's control, Wonder Man attacked Doom Island, the location of the Psychoprism. Doom's dissatisfaction caused him to give up on a chance to prevent the heroes from destroying the Psychoprism. Thus, the citizens of the Earth broke free from Doom's control, and the Earth soon returned to its status quo. Doom eventually freed his mother's soul with the assistance of Doctor Strange. Strange had won the Aged Genghis contest and was obligated to answer the request of the runner-up. The scheme to free his mother required Doom to incur her undying hatred by volunteering Strange to take her place. Cynthia Von Doom was so disgusted at her son that she became too pure to remain in hell and departed for heaven. Strange wondered if Doom had been aware of this outcome when he made the deal, but Doom simply mused that his mother's hatred was a price he was willing to pay to ensure her freedom. When Franklin Richards was kidnapped by Onslaught, Doom, who saw this as an opportunity to steal the being's powers, joined the Fantastic Four, the Avengers, and the X-Men to battle Onslaught in Central Park. An enraged Hulk was able to crack open Onslaught's shell. However, Onslaught remained as pure psionic energy and separated Hulk and Banner, planning to spread across the planet. Thor plunged into Onslaught, trying to contain him. The Fantastic Four, the majority of Avengers, the Hulk-less Banner, and even Doom, who was grabbed by Iron Man, followed. Thanks to this sacrifice, the X-Men finally managed to destroy Onslaught. Doom, the Fantastic Four, and the Avengers and Banner were believed dead, but were instead saved by Franklin, who created a pocket dimension called Counter-Earth to keep them safe. After several months away, the missing heroes returned from Counter-Earth in a massive ship breaching the dimensional barriers. Doom attempted to take over the ship in mid-flight, leading to a battle with Thor which left both men adrift in dimensional space for a time. Doom's travels took him back to Counter-Earth. He took over the world and moved it from the Pocket Universe to his original universe with magic and technology, putting it in the same orbit as Earth, only on the opposite side, creating a Counter-Earth. Eventually, he was overthrown and returned to his rightful planet. Due to a series of complex events involving the resurrection of Galactus, Susan Richards became pregnant with a child she had previously miscarried. Once again, she experienced problems with her pregnancy. With Reed away, Johnny Storm contacted Doom for help, correctly guessing that Doom would be unable to refuse a chance to succeed where Reed failed. Doom used a problem Johnny had with his powers, an inability to flame off without technological support, caused by being overcharged with energy from the negative zone, to save Sue's daughter. Doom channeled Johnny's excess energy into Sue to keep her alive. After the birth, Doom's only apparent condition for his aid was that he be allowed to name Sue and Reed's daughter, calling her Valeria after his long-lost love. Valeria's birth inspired a new plan where Doom made Valeria his familiar while seeking out her namesake as part of a deal with a trio of demons known as the Hazareth Three. By sacrificing his old lover, Doom was granted magical powers on the level he would possess if he had spent the past years studying sorcery rather than science. This began by making Valeria's skin becoming his new armor. With this new power, Doom trapped Franklin Richards in hell, immobilized Doctor Strange, and neutralized the FF's powers. He tortured Sue, Johnny, and Ben and taunted Reed by leaving him in his magical library. Doom compared this to giving a dog a roadmap and concluded that it would be impossible for Reed to achieve sufficient magical skill to be a threat to him. However, Reed was able to release Doctor Strange's astral self from Doom's traps, which allowed Strange to give Reed a sufficient crash course in magic for Reed to free the rest of the team and trick Doom into angering his demonic benefactors, prompting them to take him to hell. Determined to ensure that Doom wouldn't be a further threat, Reed took control of Latveria to dismantle all of Doom's equipment. Simultaneously, Reed subtly drove his family away so he could trap Doom and himself in a pocket dimension where Doom would never threaten anyone again. However, this plan backfired when the rest of the four attempted to rescue Reed, which resulted in Doom transferring his spirit into Sue, Johnny, and Ben respectively. Reed was forced to kill Ben, his best friend, to stop his greatest enemy. Doom was returned to hell, and Reed was later able to use the same machine Doom once tried to create to travel to heaven and restore Ben to life. When Mjolnir, the hammer of Thor, fell to Earth, it passed through time and space, momentarily breaching the gateway to hell and providing Doom with an escape route. Upon his return to Earth, Doom regained control of Latveria, used its military to locate Mjolnir, and attempted to seize its power for himself, believing the hammer had chosen him to be its wielder by freeing him from hell, but he soon discovered that he was not worthy. During the superhero Civil War, Reed Richards and several other heroes defeated a Doombot in New York City. Doom himself may or may not have been responsible. In another ploy to gain leverage during this time of disunity, Doom proposed an alliance between Latveria and the Black Panther's country of Wakanda. Black Panther and his new wife, Storm, however, saw through Doom's intrigue. So Doom sought to align his country with another. Following the destruction of the underwater kingdom of Atlantis, Dr. Doom made Latveria into a refugee camp for the Atlanteans and struck an alliance with Loki in his plot to manipulate Thor to unwittingly release his Asgardian enemies. Iron Man led S.H.I.E.L.D. forces and the mighty Avengers to Latveria when it was discovered that one of Dr. Doom's satellites carried the Venom virus released in New York City. Using time travel, Dr. Doom had been involved in a romantic relationship with Morgan Le Fay at the time in exchange for her tutelage in the mystic arts. This arrangement was interrupted when the mighty Avengers arrested Dr. Doom and incarcerated him for crimes against humanity. During the battle, Dr. Doom, Iron Man, and the Sentry stumbled through an open time travel portal, trapping Dr. Doom and his opponents in the past. Dr. Doom and Iron Man managed to return all three to the prison. Dr. Doom was released from prison by the Fantastic Force. A group from a distant future returned to the prison. The Fantastic Force kidnapped Doom and the Human Torch to use them as a power source for a time travel device that was made from the dead body of Galactus. The whole plan of the Fantastic Force was led by the future Sue Storm. In the end, Reed Richards and Sue Storm not only found a home for the future refugees, but also freed Dr. Doom and the Human Torch. In what should have been a happy ending, Dr. Doom killed the future Sue Storm to restore his honor. In the aftermath of the Skrull invasion, Dr. Doom became a member of the Dark Cabal alongside Norman Osborn, Emma Frost, Namor, Loki, and the Hood. Due to Doom's status, Dracula approached him to secure a non-aggression pact between both Doom and the Cabal before attacking Britain. Doom, who loathed Dracula, refused to acknowledge his regal standing. Morgan Le Fay traveled to present-day Latveria to punish Dr. Doom for failing to come through on his end of their bargain. The Dark Avengers went to Dr. Doom's aid after Morgan Le Fay defeated him in mystical combat. Norman Osborn rescued Doom from mystical paralysis, and they linked their armors to access Doom's time cube in order to go back in time and stop Morgan Le Fay. Doom either could not or would not destroy Le Fay, despite having the power to do so, because her future was intertwined with his. Instead, Doom sent her back in time, forcing her to battle her way back to her present, and thereby distracting her from fighting Doom and the Dark Avengers. Doom showed contempt for Osborn and his ignorance to the time stream and went back to the present and undid all that Le Fay had done to the Dark Avengers. Then Doom magically restored Latveria and rebuilt his castle with use of the Time Cube. After his initial capture and release for crimes against humanity, Doom revealed that he had been taught everything by a master, someone that was far more powerful and evil than he himself, and that he would soon be returning. When his master, the Marquis of Death, arrived, he was displeased with what Doom had been doing in the 2 decades since his departure. He expected Doom to be the vicious ruler of the Earth, not the ruler of a small country constantly defeated by heroes such as the Fantastic Four. After playing with his mind, he beat Doom and banished him to the Pliocene Age to die. With his new apprentice, the Marquis of Death began to torment the Fantastic Four as punishment, but was defeated by them. When Richards chose not to finish off his defeated foe, the Marquis apprentice, revealed to be Doom, did it for him. Dr. Doom waited for years in the past using all his knowledge and sorcery to survive. He then became the Marquis apprentice once more and waited for the moment that the Marquis would be weakened enough for him to gain his revenge, and it came when he faced Mr. Fantastic. Doom declared that all rivalries between him and Richards had long been settled to his satisfaction. When the Asgardians moved from Asgard, which was floating above Broxton, Oklahoma, to Latveria on Loki's suggestion, Doom secretly began capturing Asgardians, experimenting on them to discover what gave them their immortality. He even mutilated some Asgardians by converting them into cyborgs, serving his twisted ambitions. He set these cyborgs loose upon Balder and company. However, Thor came to avenge his people and engaged Doom in combat. After realizing that he could lose, Doom fled and entered the weapon he had been working on, a new version of the Destroyer armor. He re-engaged Thor and began to beat him down, with Thor unable to hurt him. Realizing that Doom's armor was powered by a battery, Thor held off Doom until the suit's power finally ran low, forcing Doom to retreat. Doom had one last meeting with Norman and his Cabal, but still refused to side with Norman. To show off his power, Norman unleashed his secret weapon on Doom and defeated him. But Doom was obviously prepared for this sort of attack, as he had sent a Doombot in his place. The Doombot unleashed advanced technology to attack the Cabal and Norman's Dark Avengers. Doom had made it clear that no one could control him. When Doom learned of a xenophobic group of Wakandans known as the Desturi, he began his plans for gaining access to the vast amounts of vibranium located in Wakanda. Vibranium has the ability to be magically charged and has infinite power potential, something Doom had figured how to use to make himself virtually unstoppable. Doom developed nanite cameras which were dispersed into all Wakandans, making them unknowing spies for Doom. With all the security information of Wakanda available to him, he was able to gain access to the vault that contained the country's vibranium. In a last-ditch effort to stop him, T'Challa rendered all Wakandan vibranium inert and useless. Long ago, Doom betrayed the leader and his supervillain group, the Intelligentsia. The group later reformed and planned to lobotomize their competition and capture 8 of Earth's greatest minds, including Doom. Doom was captured by the Intelligentsia using the Hulk robot. When the Young Avengers helped Magneto find his daughter Wanda, they found her with no memory of her past and betrothed to Dr. Doom. He was revealed to have played a part in increasing the power levels of the Scarlet Witch through the Life Force, leading to the events which disassembled the Avengers and the alteration of reality known as M-Day. When the Young Avengers traveled back in time with Wanda, they were able to restore her memory, and thus her powers. Back in the present, Doom stole the Life Force from Wanda in an effort to become fully omnipotent. He offered to make perfect the lives of all those present and even revive the dead, only if he became the king of the world. The Young Avengers, the Avengers, and the X-Men refused, instead battling him until his new powers overloaded, leaving him powerless again. He escaped, teleporting himself away after taking responsibility for all of Wanda's actions, stating that she was only a puppet and only he was powerful enough to create that kind of chaos. After the death of the Human Torch, Doom joined the Future Foundation with the condition that Reed Richards would restore the intelligence he lost at the hands of the Intelligentsia. He helped the team search for the Richards of alternate universes and was kidnapped by Reed Alpha, who brought him to Latveria and confronted Christoph von Doom, who had taken over as ruler. There, with the help of the Future Foundation, they rebuilt Reed's 616th bridge, a device that allowed Reed to peer into alternate realities and travel to them at will. While on the bridge, Reed Alpha freed Doom to help battle the Mad Celestials. Rather than taking his chance to escape, Doom stayed and fought for Latveria. Ultimately, Doom lost the battle and seemingly died. With no knowledge as to how he survived the blast from the Mad Celestials, Doom woke up in the middle of the ruins of the Interdimensional Council of Reeds, where Valeria had left him a present. The full army of lobotomized Dr. Dooms from alternate realities who were previously captured by the Council, along with 2 Infinity Gauntlets from other universes. With these resources, Doom created the Parliament of Doom. He later returned to again rule Latveria, and was targeted by Lucia von Bardas and the Red Ghost, who wanted to get revenge on Doom for past indiscretions. Doom journeyed to the universe that one of his Infinity Gauntlets had belonged to, which was now empty and desolate, and used the gauntlet to breathe life into it anew. He separated magic and science, creating the basic rules for their existence, created new life forms, and made himself their ruler. On a world where science and magic were wed, his creations turned on him and 6 rulers divided Doom's infinity gems between them. Reed and Nathaniel Richards entered this universe to save Doom after being told by Valeria that he was in grave danger. They managed to convince 5 of the rulers to pardon Doom and managed to escape the clutches of the 6th, bringing Doom back to their universe. Upon their return, Doom declared that he and Richards were even again. After his return, Latveria became the site of an incursion, a collision between Earth and one of its alternate universe counterparts. This incursion was different, however, in that it was controlled by a mysterious group known as the Mapmakers, who had rigged the other Earth to explode and wished to mark Doom's Earth for potential expansion. Doom fought off the Mapmaker's servants, the Sidera Maris, with the help of his adopted son Christoph Renard, whilst unbeknownst to him, the Illuminati blew up the other Earth. After the incursion ended, Doom was alerted to a rock that had fallen from the sky, which was in truth the Mapmaker's beacon. Doom contacted Reed Richards and Stephen Strange in order to confront them about the Illuminati's presence in Latveria and the incursion, but to his fury, they refused to give him answers and Reed warned him not to contact him in regard to the incursions again. After imprisoning Loki due to the manipulations of an older Loki, Doom discovered that his people were fighting one another and rallying against him. After beginning to have bad thoughts himself, Doom realized that Latveria was under a telepathic attack. He used a spell to protect himself, and discovered that the Red Skull had been responsible for this attack. Meanwhile in Castle Doom, Loki had been freed by Valeria, who used his truth sword Gram to release a truth wave which stopped the telepathic influence over Latveria. Soon after, Magneto arrived in Castle Doom to recruit Doom into a team of villains to stop the Red Skull, who had now become the Red Onslaught. Doom journeyed to Genosha with the rest of the villains that were recruited by Magneto. They destroyed one of the Skull's Stark Sentinels, which was keeping some of the heroes who had defied the Skull captive. Doom and the Scarlet Witch began to cast an inversion spell to alter the moral compass of the Skull in order to defeat him. The spell was successful, but it accidentally also affected everyone else on the island. After the island was covered by the spell, all of the villains disappeared without a trace, including Doom. Doom returned to Latveria, changed into a selfless and kind man due to the spell, ready to make amends for his past sins. Knowing that the, now inverted, Scarlet Witch would come to Latveria for revenge on Doom due to his past manipulations, Doom created a device capable of channeling a portion of the witch's powers. With the help of an Avengers team assembled by Valeria, Doom managed to get hold of a portion of the Scarlet Witch's powers, which he used to make right one of his past misdeeds, the murder of Cassie Lang, and bring her back to life. Wanda managed to finally confront Doom, who was saved by Magneto and Quicksilver. While Magneto and Pietro tried to convince Wanda not to cross the line and take Doom's life, Doom fled to another dimension, where he made a pact with a demigod to bring Dr. Voodoo back to life. Voodoo's brother Daniel possessed Scarlet Witch in order to make her cooperate and help Doom cast a reinversion spell. After teleporting to New York, where the inverted heroes and villains were fighting, the inverted Red Skull helped Doom and Daniel cast the spell, which successfully brought almost everyone back to normal, including Doom. Victor took advantage of the confusion brought by the reinversion and abducted the Red Skull to Latveria for experimentation. Over the following months, Victor worked with a team of scientists to reverse engineer the Mapmaker artifact he had gathered from the incursion that took place in Latveria. The Mad Thinkers successfully managed to map their entire network. Doom planned to use the Molecule Man, whose energy frequency matched with the beacons, to oppose whatever was the origin of the incursions and the decay of the multiverse. The Molecule Man took Doom elsewhere, a blank void from where they subsequently traveled backwards through the mists of time and the various planes of reality. Doom and the Molecule Man traveled to the past to an alternate reality to witness the origin of said reality's Molecule Man. The journey restored the Molecule Man's mind and he told Doom of his origins. The Molecule Man was a singularity across every single universe, a bomb created by the Beyonders to detonate across the entire multiverse at once. If a Molecule Man died, his universe died with him, so if every Molecule Man died at the same time, the entire multiverse would die simultaneously. The Molecule Man killed his counterpart early and convinced Doom that in order to diminish the charge to save the multiverse, he had to prematurely kill every single Molecule Man before they could fully go off in 25 years. However, the Molecule Men's deaths caused tiny contractions in the multiverse, as per the Beyonders' design, which began the incursions. 8 years after the beginning of his journey, when Doom had killed thousands of Molecule Men, he encountered one who would be the first of his Black Swans, a cult he would form around the religious concept of himself, under the identity of Rabam Alil, the Great Destroyer. A group of Black Swans, including Yabat Taru, rebelled against Doom's original path and sought a new one. They destroyed other Earths during incursions as an offering to Rabam Alil and to buy more time for other universes. For every Earth destroyed during an incursion, 2 universes and 1 of the Earths were saved. Even if Doom's actions resulted in the destruction of realities, Doom attempted to save as much as he could from the destruction, believing that setting off the Molecule Men earlier would diminish the charge of the explosion the Beyonders had planned. However, he later realized the futility of his actions, as the Beyonders had built the Molecule Men too well and killing them was still causing the multiverse to die. So Doom changed course and began capturing Molecule Men in order to create his own bomb to destroy the Beyonders. In the present, Doctor Strange and the Black Priests attacked the Library of Worlds to hunt Rabam Alil, who had been believed to be one of the main causes of the decay of the multiverse. Dr. Doom presented himself as Rabam Alil to Strange and clarified that the real destroyers of the multiverse were the Beyonders. In a last-ditch attempt to save the multiverse, Doom took Strange and the countless captured Molecule Men to confront the Beyonders. By weaponizing the Molecule Men, Doom was able to take out the Beyonders at the cost of thousands of universes, leaving only a dozen, and the power wielded by those Beyonders were then channeled into the last Molecule Man, thus stealing their omnipotence for Doom. When the multiverse finally perished in the final incursion between Earth 616 and Earth 1610, Doom used the power of the Beyonders to salvage the remains of several realities and built a patchwork planet, Battleworld. He ruled as God Emperor Doom with the help of Sheriff Stephen Strange, his right hand, and the Foundation, his left hand. The Molecule Man, who was the container for the power of the Beyonders, continued empowering God Emperor Doom and remained hidden in a chamber. During the early days of Battleworld, Doom encountered an alternate version of the Fantastic Four, one in which Reed Richards did not exist. Their Sue Storm fell in love with Victor, and they had 2 children, Franklin and Valeria. As 8 years went by, Doom and Strange twisted the memories of the inhabitants to the point they would no longer remember what had existed before Battleworld. Even though he was an omnipotent ruler, Victor ultimately felt he was failing his duty as a god. He thought he was not capable of properly inspiring his people, and even though Battleworld was the perfect world he wanted, he considered himself its only flaw. The relative monotony of Doom's reign was interrupted with the discovery of an empty vessel in the domain known as Utopolis, a life raft that had been built by the survivors of Earth 1610, the Villainous Maker, and the Cabal. The vessel had allowed them to survive the final incursion and kept them in suspended animation for the 8 years that had passed. Sheriff Strange recognized the design of the raft, which was that of a similar vessel he had found 3 years earlier and had kept hidden in his Isle of Agamotto. When Strange investigated the vessel of his proprietary, he freed its occupants, the survivors of Earth 616, among which were Mr. Fantastic, Namor, and Black Panther. After being informed of the nature of Battleworld and its ruler, the survivors of Earth 616 helped Sheriff Strange confront the Maker and the Cabal, who had been finally pinned down by Battleworld's police force, the Thor Corps. Doom remained unwilling to take part in the conflict until he saw Mr. Fantastic in the scene, which is when he immediately teleported to Utopolis and stopped the fray, demanding the newcomers to recognize his authority. When the Phoenix refused to submit to him and attacked Doom with his flames, Doom shrugged off the attack and executed Summers by breaking his neck with one hand. To prevent Doom from prejudicially acting upon the interlopers, Steven used his magic to teleport them away. Following the disappearance of the Cabal and the heroes from Earth 616, Doom confronted Strange for disobeying him and ultimately killed him after Steven accused him of being afraid of Richards. Doom later commanded Valeria and the Department of Science of Battleworld, the Foundation, to find the interlopers, pinning Strange's murder on them. 3 weeks later, Battleworld was in disarray, with disorder having escalated into open rebellion in several domains, with somebody called the Prophet forming an army against Doom. The Prophet, who was later revealed to be none other than the Cabal's Maximus the Mad, and his army marched forward to Castle Doom. Some of Doom's allies started fighting against him, namely the Thor Corps, who had been convinced to fight against their god by the Thor survivor of Earth 616. When he decided to step into the fight, Doom was confronted by Black Panther and Namor, with the former having acquired an Infinity Gauntlet from Sheriff Strange's sanctuary. After a battle that took them through the different planes of reality, Doom bested Black Panther, but he soon realized the fight was a distraction. He teleported to the Molecule Man's chamber, which had been found by Mr. Fantastic. The Molecule Man partially stripped Doom from his power in order to allow a fair fight. During the furious confrontation, Doom accused Richards of believing he could have done better had he had the power of the Beyonders, and when Reed conceded he did, so did Doom. On the grounds that both agreed, the Molecule Man gave the power of the Beyonders to Reed, destroying Battleworld in the process. With the power of the Beyonders he had received from the Molecule Man, and with help from his revived family, Mr. Fantastic began to restore the multiverse as the Eighth Cosmos, including Earth 616. After accepting that Doom was going to eternally resent him, Reed decided to alter Victor's memories so he believed he was dead, on the hopes that Victor could become a better man if he no longer pursued ultimate power and believed his biggest rival was gone. In addition to altering Victor's memories, Reed cured him of his scars before returning him to Latveria. The feeling of unfulfillment left in Victor during his tenure as a deity prompted him to look for other ways to find personal realization. While rethinking his life, Doom was ultimately struck with the notion that if the selfish act of ultimate power wasn't his calling, maybe the opposite could hold true. Thus he set out to become a force of good in the world. This new perspective also led Doom to abdicate his throne and leave his kingdom behind. Before departing Latveria, Victor appointed the top military mind in the country, General Karadik, as temporary head of state so he could help Latveria transition into a free state. In order to make more apparent his transition to the side of the Angels, the now unarmored Victor decided to become an ally to Tony Stark, a man he had always secretly admired and deemed as an equal. Iron Man first encountered this new version of Victor when he was following the trail of Madame Mask. Doom revealed his intentions to turn over a new leaf, and eventually helped Stark exorcise the demon-possessed Mask. Doom remained on high alert in case new demonic incursions appeared. During the Second Civil War, Doom tried to help Stark regain his composure following the tragic loss of his best friend Jim Rhodes and the destruction of the Stark Tower. When this conflict ended with Stark falling into a coma, Doom saw Stark's fall as a message that directed the form his penance would need to take, and he decided to pick up the mantle of Iron Man. Mephisto objected to Doom's attempt at redemption and tried to torment him using a simulacrum of his dead mother. At the same time, S.H.I.E.L.D. attempted to capture Doom for his past crimes. In the middle of this gauntlet, Victor found solace in a reluctant ally, Tony Stark's ex-girlfriend Amara Pereira, whom Victor impregnated. In the end, Mephisto was banished, and Doom started slowly gaining S.H.I.E.L.D.'s trust. Doom's sudden turn against the supervillain community sparked grievances that resulted in a group of villains led by the Hood joining forces to take down Victor. After the villains besieged Doom several times, the final battle occurred when the Hood attempted to take over Stark Industries, which happened not long after Stark had secretly recovered from his injuries. Tony confronted the Hood and stumbled into Victor. Doom took on the Hood and the demon possessing him one-on-one, and his face was severely burned by the demon in the process. Following the villain's defeat, Victor retreated to the ruins of Castle Doom. During Victor's seclusion, the country fell under a tyrant regime. Doom was inspired by the leader of the resistance, Zora Vukovic, to pull himself together and take control back of Latveria. Afterward, Victor imbued Zora with the power cosmic, turning her into her right hand, the champion of Latveria named Victorious. In an attempt to capture Galactus and turn him into a source of power for Latveria and the world, Doom lured the cosmic entity to his country. With the help of the Fantastic Four, Victor succeeded in entrapping Galactus in Mount Doom. However, he arrested the team for trespassing into Latveria. The Fantastic Four managed to escape before Doom could execute them on live broadcast. In the process, the Invisible Woman publicly shamed Victor by turning his armor invisible, exposing his scarred face to the whole world.